are. Okay, there's.
Well, I guess I'm about the oldest I get to sit. Second oldest. Yeah, don't look at me and say second.
Ow. Where's my food? I think she has some eyes. I also love babies. I just doing. I want it. This is flavor.
Good afternoon. I'm Jerry Burns, Director of the Police Academy and Correctional Officer Training Programs here. And we want to welcome you to the graduation of classes 94-1. I'd like to introduce to you the Academy staff, in addition to myself. Roger Coursey, Under Sheriff Hinsdale County, part-time instructor both in the Police Academy and the Correctional Officer Program. Tanya Barbie, Lieutenant, and she is primarily in charge of the Detentions Correctional Officer Program. Mr. Pat Ahlstrom, Director of the Colorado Department of Public Safety, and I'll tell you more about him later. And Lieutenant Doug Schwinn, Police Academy. I don't see
Job that I get every year. I want to welcome everybody. I'm sorry we don't have enough chairs for everybody. We're going to have to figure out some way to judge how many people come to these things. And here it has improved. The quality of the students has improved. And I just want to congratulate you because you guys are the talk of the town. You're the talk of the school. You're very polite. It's amazing. And we really appreciate that around the school.
The Academy's come a long way since we started in the fall of 1985, and this area, as nice as it is when we first started, was concrete floors, no ceilings, no heating, no air conditioning. And the school district has invested about $180.
Cadets, attention.
And now, in the memory of Officer Beth Haynes, who was in Eastern Colorado to take the drive to Western Colorado, we were honored last graduation to have Gail Norton, our Attorney General from the state of Colorado, a very gracious lady that was here and met with the cadets. And on this particular occasion, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce you a gentleman that's had many years in law enforcement. If I recall correctly, he started as patrol officer in Ames, Iowa. He went to Sioux Falls, the chief of police there. He was chief of police in Broomfield. He started his Colorado reputation there, and it was good. He was instrumental in establishing the units of safety. I'd like to have you welcome to Western Colorado, Pat Ahlstrom.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I don't know why Jerry says that you don't get a lot of people from Eastern Colorado. Maybe you just assume they didn't come here very often to interfere with your wonderful lifestyle. But as for me, I'd prefer to be here all of the time if I possibly could. I was telling Jerry that as I look toward retirement, some way out, way in the future, I can't think of a better place than right here in Delaware County here today. Now, I want to close with a quote and a challenge. First, the quote from the National Advisory Commission on Criminal Justice Standards and Goals. Quote, "The police in the United States are not separate from the people. They draw their authority from the will and consent of the people, and they recruit their officers from them. The police are the instruments of the people to achieve and maintain order. Their efforts are founded on principles of public service and ultimate responsibility to that public. To a peace officer, to these new peace officers and would-be peace officers, public service is more than a vague concept. When people need help, it is to a police officer that they are most likely to turn, and the officer responds immediately, without first ascertaining the status of the person in need. It does not matter if that person is rich or poor, for there are no complicated criteria to qualify as a recipient of aid or as a client of the police." End quote. Now the challenge to you, class, is this. It's a very simple one. And that is, whatever you do in law enforcement, whatever job you hold, whatever posts that you have, whatever rank you attain or positions of responsibility, and the most responsible one is peace officer, journeyman peace officer. Do it well. Do it to the best of your ability. Reach for the standard of excellence all the time. See to it that others reach for that same high standard of excellence. Settle for nothing less. For you see, the public that you serve deserves nothing less than excellence. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. It's very important that you support these young men and women today and into the future, as long as you live. It's extremely important that they know you support
This fine class in putting together their graduation certificates, their final grades, their performance evaluations. This particular class came out with an overall class average of over 92%. The inception of the Uniform Corps, the structure, the discipline, at this point in time has caused this group to be probably one of the finest that has ever been graduated from here. They came in under higher acceptance standards. They came in under higher background investigations. They came in under higher requirements so far as entry-level examinations and testing, and our standards to graduate have been higher than they ever have before. Mr. Alstrom and I were talking this morning about some of our standards in the state of Colorado. This particular class requires the wives and the families, the spouses of the cadets here. I think you're going to expect that high standard of them. Looking and reflecting back on my career in law enforcement, which is seconded only by Art Harris up here from the Colorado State Patrol. The only reason I think that I was even somewhat successful was because of my family support. And those shifts you come in and you're stressed out and you're concerned and you're exhausted, that support from family is what makes it worthwhile.
Cadets, attention.
These are outstanding performance evaluations and some other special recognition that we give to our graduates, and not necessarily in the order of importance. And in the Detention Correctional Officer Program, I'd like to call on Charla Martinez. She's number 2 academically in the class of 94-1, grade point average 3.75. fine class, young lady that we're sure is going to have a long career in law enforcement or criminal justice. She's graduating with a grade point average of 3.77. And another young lady to show you that we're non-discriminatory, I beg your pardon, Kimberly Buckmaster. We've got a number, and of course there's more activities in the police academy where the detentions corrections is academically oriented and sets a real good basic foundation of knowledge. In the police academy, we have a lot of things to do in firearms, driving, and a lot of fun things, and we're able to evaluate those. In the law enforcement driving, second in driving was no other than Randy Barnes. The top driver, and this was somewhat of a surprise in the academy. He's such a quiet young man. He doesn't brag or anything other than the fact that he is top driver. He came into the office and pointed that out to me very firmly. He challenged me on it. I checked for the information, and he in fact was Casey Dodson. As you look at these cadets, you'll notice there's a slight variation in uniform. And as they became hired during the academy, and I'll talk to that a little later, as they became hired or commissioned, one of the first things they did was to come into my office. Competition. As you go through the weekly testing and evaluations, and you start seeing that interest, and everybody is trying to be among the top in the class, and they get pretty competitive, and when you grade that test, you better be ready to defend your decision, because these guys will challenge you every inch of the way. And most of them is younger and tougher and bigger than I am, and it's difficult for me to argue. Number 3 in the class with an average of 95.32 was Mark Tracy. Number 2 in the class, he's a little older than the rest of the kids. He looks like he's 15. And done exceptionally well. He worked hard at it. We're really proud of him as Bruce Lambert. Granddad Lambert, you notice he's doing the best he can. He breaks into a sweat. He hurt his back yesterday, and but he's been making it all right. He, even with a bad back, did the run and passed that, and then he laid around as much as he could. Bruce is a probation officer with Mesa County, and we're glad to have him. He had a lot of good ideas and a lot of knowledge he contributed to the training also. Top student, and this should make Fred Williams very pleased, who's here also, I understand, with a grade average 96.37, was Officer Gregory Knott. We have one student that has been involved in the corrections program and also the police academy. We're really proud of her. She has been greatly involved.
Detentions class. The first cadet is Nancy Bishop.
I'd like to recognize the graduates. First up, Gregory Knott. Randy Barnes.
Academy, you seated?
Okay, the academy's listened to me for about 15 weeks and they're tired of it, so I'm not going to stay very long.